Hey guys, Chance Reynolds here from LLC Freedom. I'm still working the steps in the wholesale book, and I've been meeting with, as I've mentioned in a prior video, I've been meeting with some potential buyers and just people that have been in the real estate business in general much longer than I have. So I'm about to have an early lunch with somebody I do not know that has been in this game for a while. So it's similar to my lunch yesterday, where it's somebody that they just know how to buy properties. They know how to buy real estate. And if I'm wanting to just go full head on into wholesaling, I need people that want to buy real estate. So whether it's going to be a JV deal, whether there's somebody who's going to buy them and hold them, buy them, put renters in them, whether they're going to flip them and fix them, I really am not sure. And honestly, I don't really care what they do with it afterwards. All I really want to do is ask the right questions to them and then listen, because I don't know anything. Being an attorney, they'll probably ask me some legal questions, or assume at least that I know more about the legal side than they do. A lot of times if they've been doing this for years, or even if they've done any deals at all, they're more familiar with the process than I am right now. So my goal is not to try to prove that I know something or establish any sort of status. Really, I just want to learn from them. If they have something of value to provide to me, ask them what I can do for them, help them if they want some help from me. I don't mind providing it. If they have questions that I can answer, I'll surely answer them. And if they ask me questions that I don't know the answers to, I'll say I'll look into it for them. And then I will go find out, and I'll come back and tell them what the answer is, because that's what you do as an attorney, basically, is just figure out how to solve people's problems for them. So I'm hoping to, find out what type of properties this guy's company looks to buy. I know that he actually bought a house that I used to live in, and that's kind of how this connection is being made. But I'm going to ask him all the questions that you should ask, that even Maxwell talks about asking, that this book talks about asking, that the hundreds of other articles I've read about this and videos that I've watched tell me to ask. Mainly, what are the zip codes they're looking for? What type of properties, price range are they looking for? How many houses are they looking to buy? Is this something that they're ready to go? If they say, yeah, I want 5 houses in this zip code in the next year, you basically have, and they give you the price range, you have that as a budget as far as what you can hope to just acquire there, get under contract, and either assign over, double close, put into a trust, whatever it is that you're going to do, whatever that strategy is. Honestly, it's whatever strategy they want. So I'm going to ask him, that's another question I'm going to ask him, is how does he like to receive the property? How does he like to do the closings? Does he have someone in the area that he prefers? So I'm about to walk out the door, so I'm not late to this meeting, but I will report back to you guys after the meeting and let you know if I learned anything valuable. I'm sure I will, hopefully. I don't get caught up in just talking about myself, and I can listen and learn from someone who has more experience than myself. All right, guys, just got done with the lunch with the potential buyer, and as I'm following the steps in, if you can't wholesale after this, I've got nothing for you. That is step 2. And I think that step is complete. I think I'm ready to move on. I have 2 buyers that I've met with yesterday and today. This guy had, like I said, had purchased a previous property that I lived in. I didn't own it. Someone else in my family owned it. I was just a tenant in that house. But when I moved out, they sold the house to this guy. This was this guy's first property. I was probably 21, 22 when that happened. It was almost 15 years ago when that happened. And as we were sitting there, chatting about that, he said, yeah, I own 15 properties over there now. And I was like, oh, you own 15 properties in the area of where that house is? He was like, no, I own 15 properties on that street. The street's only like 3 blocks long. He must own almost all the houses on that whole street. And I was just like, wow, because he buys and holds long term, which is exactly the type of person, if you're doing wholesaling, that you want to have a relationship with. And he told me the zip codes that he generally buys in, but he said he's not limited to those. Both people that I've talked to that are buyers said, these are the zip codes that I own the most properties in, and that's important, but I want to buy, I want to expand. I'm willing to expand. Since he buys and holds them for rent purposes, he likes to have his all bunched up. It serves him better because all of his tenants are in the same area. It's a lot easier on him to service those properties, which makes a lot of sense. Super duper smart. And this guy was really sharp guy, but really down to earth guy, you know, just talking about the issues that he has in his business and how competitive it's going to be. That's one of the things he really pushed when we talked. He was like, this is not an easy business. I didn't tell him, you know, I don't know what his involvement is with understanding of what's going on online right now with the online type guru stuff. I didn't even ask him about any of that because I can get all that stuff online. I'm not going to ask him questions about that. I just had somebody sitting there in front of me. I asked him all the good questions. I did a pretty good job, I feel like, of actually listening this time. In my meeting yesterday, it was a buddy of mine. It was actually two buddies of mine from high school. It was a guy who owns a oil and gas acquisition company that also expanded his portfolio to just buying up actual properties like surface rights. So he buys mineral rights generally and brokers deals and then sells them. And now he started to actually buy the surface rights to properties as well, just because he gets offered so many products, so many pieces of property that it made sense for him to kind of expand into that. So we just did a whole lot of reminiscing and discussing, and we have good rapport, so we're just joking back and forth. And I know him like pretty well. After that meeting, I was wishing I had done more, just kind of sit back and listening and learning from him, instead of just kind of joking around, because at the end of the day, like, I learned a lot from him, but there's so much more I could have learned from him. And selfishly, I wished I had just like sat back and just let him school me and ask the right kind of questions. But I didn't do that. So I took a lesson that I learned from that and took it into my meeting today, my lunch meeting today, and really just tried to keep my mouth shut as far as like just making sure I'm not like jumping in with any ideas, because I get real excited. If you can't tell on here, I'm excitable. I think fast. I talk fast. I'm like really good to get kind of jumpy and crazy when I'm talking about something that I'm really interested in. Right now, I'm just living this real estate stuff. And I want to talk to so many sellers, so many buyers, so many people that have done it, that I can look myself in the mirror at the end of the day and say that I'm on par with anyone else with it. And I already understand all the structures of how to protect myself legally. I understand trusts, not as well as I understand LLCs, but I understand trusts at a basic level. I'm going to increase my knowledge. Every day I'm reading about them. Every day I'm learning something new about trusts, about wholesaling, about real estate, investments, all the different angles. That's one of the things I asked this guy was, you know, if you were in my shoes and you were just starting, what would you do? Is this an angle that you might take? And he said yes. He said the wholesaling angle is a great place to start, but he said it's super hard to find good deals. He just said, I mean, if you can find good deals, good. You know, work all your angles with probate and foreclosure if you can, and possible bankruptcies and divorces. He said those are going to be the best angles to work. He said be careful, because ethically you can get into some gray areas real quick where people might think that you're trying to take advantage of them. So don't take advantage of anyone. Be ethical. Make it a win-win situation for everybody involved. And, you know, don't be afraid to just go knocking on doors. He said you're going to get a lot of doors slammed in your face, a lot of people hanging up on you. You know, if you choose to do mail as your marketing, it's going to take you a long time to do it. But just work hard, and you know, if you can find good properties, you can find a deal, that's good, but it's not easy. It's not like an easy get-rich-quick scheme, which I never thought it was. But a lot of people say, like, I go out and get a deal in my first week. Maybe you will go out and get a deal in your first week, and maybe I'll get a deal tomorrow because I'm going to start calling people, but maybe not as well. So he was just super real about it. Like, it's rough game if you're trying to do numbers. That's not what he does. He said he will wholesale some stuff if the deal is right, but mostly he wants to buy and hold them, or buy them and fix them, flip them himself. So those are kind of the two main things they do. But he's just like, any deal, I don't care what it is. You got a car, you got a piece of jewelry. If it's valuable, I don't mind buying it and reselling it. So he's just like, the buyers are there. Don't worry about that aspect. The sellers are really like what you should start focusing on. So, but I got my list of probate and pre-foreclosures, and I'm ready to start reaching out to them. I'm going to follow, you know, how to help them solve problems. So Todd Fleming in this book talks about when you're reaching out to sellers, really it's distressed situations, so you're going to be focusing mostly on how can you help these people? How can you, they have a problem. They have some sort of financial situation, they have a piece of property maybe they don't want, they have a piece of property that maybe is not even inhabitable by human beings because it's so run down. What can you do to solve their problem? Can you fix their tax issue? Can you prevent them from going into foreclosure? Can you get them out, out of this terrible piece of rental property that they have, that they just want to be done with it and just get somebody to just pay them cash? Can you do that? If you can solve those problems for them, and you can work at helping people solve problems, then you should be able to meet and connect with sellers and make deals. So we'll see. This is the hard part. Reaching out to the title company, taking action in the beginning is hard. You have to do it. It's not easy to go into a situation, at least for me, and talk with buyers and title companies and not know all the moving parts. That's not an easy thing to do. But once you do it, once you do that, then comes the really, really hard part, which is actually reaching out to the sellers and negotiating these deals and seeing if you can actually get them done. So that's where I'm at. I should be reaching out hopefully to sellers. I'm not sure if that's going to start tomorrow or if that will be over the weekend, but I'm going to pull those numbers on probate and start cold calling them. I'm going to call this weekend for sure. So I will let you know, if not tomorrow, on Monday, how that went. Hope everybody has had a great week, and you have a productive Friday, and I hope everyone is out there, taking action and hopefully getting deals. So I'll talk to you guys soon.